I'm going to try to give a little bit more perspective of what we've done at Gila River, and not so much on the technical stuff that's been provided to you with the slides and so forth, because I think that's what you really need to know is what, the relationship we have with our council and our administration. As it was mentioned, GRTI, or we call it GRTI, it was established in 1988 as a tribally owned telephone company. And how we got into it is simply the fact at the time US West, as some of you recall, US West was the big phone company in the West and still is today with Quest there, with under the new title. But what happened, what was going on in our communities, even though we're located right next to Phoenix, which is probably the 6th or 5th largest city in the country now, we couldn't get adequate phone service simply because of the fact it was cost prohibitive. At that time, our governor, Tom White, he tried to ask for service to his residents, and he only left, the closest line was like maybe less than a quarter of a mile, and they were going to charge him like $20,000 just to hook in. So as in any community or urban area, who gets the most attention is the urban or the cities. But in our case, since we're close to the city of Phoenix, it was just, and the other suburbs, it was a little bit difficult for us. And so what we did was partner with a group out of Oklahoma, a company, and we initially set up as a 5149 corporation under the laws of the Gila River Indian Community. I was the chairman of as it was mentioned already, the chairman of the board for the first 5 years. And it was a very difficult time for us because at the time, I can't remember exactly the percentage of members that had phones, but it was like in a very populated area like Sacaton and on the west end of the community. And what happened was that the membership or the people that had phones were kind of against us getting into the phone business because we didn't know if we were going to succeed or fail. And so we went through that process, got established by the council, and it took a while. In fact, we had 2 recalls from some of our council members simply because they supported the effort of us to go into the telephone business. And fortunately, they got back on again. And but it was a struggle. I mean, there were times that I felt to myself and the other board members, was it worth it? And but we stuck together, and today it's doing very well. We've done quite a bit of improvements, as you've seen the overview of our company. The other thing that happened at the same time, which is quite interesting, and it's really helping us out right now, is that in 1988 and 89, if you recall, the FCC were issuing licenses for cellular, when cellular was becoming a very important part of our life, I guess today, even more today than ever. Everyone's got a cell phone. Anyway, at the time, we only had 2 members in our, as I mentioned, we were starting our phone company, and 2 members that could only speak to each other. They were neighbors across them. And part of the requirements in order to apply for the lottery, in this case, you had to at least have a phone company per se, but because of these 2 families that live across from each other's, we qualified as a phone company. And so we applied for the lottery. Of course, the other US West and the other telephone companies in the areas already had an agreement in place. So whoever won the lottery, they all share the responsibility in developing the cellular area. Guess who won the lottery? We did. We tried to ask to be a part of that group, and they said no. So we did it on our own, and we won the lottery. And it was a long battle, but in the end, we did own. We gave up a little bit of it, and today we own 25% of the ownership of that market between Tucson and Phoenix. And it's been very lucrative for us because at the time it was a $100 investment to put in the paperwork, and now it's can't imagine what every quarter we get a dividend from US West or Verizon, anywhere from 1.5 to 2 million every quarter, and that's free money that we been utilizing to enhance our phone company. So fortunately, the time was right for us to do that, and so it was an effort that the council supports us now. And next year is going to be our 20th anniversary that we've been a phone company. And it's been, we provide a lot of opportunities for our membership. We do a lot of training for our members that want to go in the telephone business. We are expanding. We're going to different types of services. As you look in your little information that's been provided to you, we are going into other types of business. One of them is the native technology solutions. And there are brochures that are on the table. I brought some this morning. And basically we're expanding to provide other services throughout the community. Currently we are, our company is doing some work right now in Salt River for the schools, high school or day school, I can't remember which, but we're planning to go out to the other areas in the local area to help other communities provide this service to them. One of the original things that when we set the phone company up was to do video of our council meetings. And because of circumstances that we couldn't control, the cost prohibitive at the time we were looking into it, that was the first thing we always heard when we go to council was or give our report as to when you're going to put us on TV, when the members. And about a year ago, I wasn't on the board, but at the time they were directed to, and then within 30 days they had the first council meeting. But it was just one council meeting that they had it videoed, and it was seen by the membership. But we are in the process of finalizing, and hopefully in the next month or so, or 2 months, we'll have that'll be offered at every council meeting from here on. But I guess the council wants to see themselves on TV, I guess. But one of the things that I guess to add on what was discussed earlier was, I guess when Mary and I were in office, one of the things that we felt was very strong was communication with our council and their members. And as it was mentioned already about the money, because at the time me and Mary were in office, gaming came into being, and at least we stepped forward and got our casinos in place. And it was very important that the membership know exactly where the money is going to. And it was some exciting times because we had to establish different programs, departments, and so it was very important, at least for me, to establish a really good relationship with our council. And because a lot of the projects that we've built or started when Mary and I were in office are in place now, but it was very important to have the council understand the direction we were going. And because they would wonder when we go to Washington, D.C. and what do we actually do with Congress? Of course we had to go talk to them and ask them about certain programs that we're involved in, but we also used to take them along with us. And they finally realized that it's a lot of work going back on both sides of the houses and trying to establish your program and priorities to Congress. And I think that was probably the most gratifying event for me during my tenure as Lieutenant Governor, is that communication I had with our council, and because it's very important to keep them abreast on what you're doing and what the company's all about. What we do every quarter is give a report to the council, both the financial, the activities we're involved in, the other things that we're doing within Congress. I was just telling Ken Robbins about the farm bill that's coming up this year, and a lot of the cooperative telephone companies that we deal with. That's very important because that's where you get your RUS funding. And that's how you establish your phone companies. And as I mentioned earlier about either you're going to fail or not, at the time when we're seeking federal funds, it was REA funds at the time. And we as far as the telephone side of REA at the time, because they have a power side and then a telephone side, you can get funds through the federal government. They had never had a telephone company that ever failed. And fortunately, we never failed. In the first 5 years, I think we were in the black. We started revenue. We have about 3,000 customers that we have in place. And it's just a big opportunity for us now simply because our location. I guess one of the things I look at economic development is location, location, location. We got location to the 6th largest city. It's an added incentive to your community because it creates jobs, and then you diversify yourself. It was mentioned in my little brochure about the Wild Horse Pass Development Resort and Spa. That was one of the projects I worked on when I was in office, and now it's there, and it's starting to expand our whole area along in that area, because the more industry you bring in, the more services they need. At least in this case, our telephone services. So it's been an exciting time for us, at least in this endeavor. But the technology has changed since I left the board. I left the board in when I went into lieutenant governor in 1994, and since then, I just overwhelmed. Both Mary and I just got on the board a year ago, come June, and it's just amazing what has happened within the last 15 years or 10 years. So anyway, that's all I want to present to you today. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. But I think I'll leave you with one note, is that, and I said it already about communication, I think it's very important that you talk to your council and your membership. When Steve mentioned about rumors about money here and there, and we used to put in our newspaper too, is the budget for the fiscal year, and then we give financial reports to the council, of course. But I mean, that's all I can say. I can't say enough for communicating with your membership and your council. Thank you.